Is Goon Bat a baseball bat for goons? Or used by goons? Or is it a bat as in the flying mammal that is a goon? I'm not clear, and I think that is the most pressing question in the Phobies community today. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's almost that time. We're getting real close. It's time for Phobies, and almost time for a new season in Phobies, so let's jump into it. Yeah, get a little chomp action to start the night. Get a little chompage to get going. What's good, chat? How's everybody doing? I see people talking already. Welcome, welcome. Hope everybody's weekend's been treating them well. But, yeah, we're going to be jumping into some more Phobies action tonight. Quick aside, everybody, before we get into the actual content, I was accepted into the Phobies Content Affiliate Program, the content creator program, you might call it. Shout out to the Phobies team, and thank you for that. But the reason I'm telling you, everybody out there, dear viewer, dear listener, is to let everybody know that I do receive some compensation from the Phobies team as a result of being part of that program. Now, I loved Phobies before, and I still love Phobies now, and I expect I will still continue to love Phobies in the future, so look forward to more Phobies content coming from Random's Thoughts. So now, on with the show. Can we see all the Phobies that I have? Sure, we can take a peek. We gotta kill some time anyway. I'm gonna try and play some games before the reset. As we get closer to the actual reset, I'm gonna try and do some game reviews because I don't wanna, have anything desync or anything like that. But right now I'm sitting at a cool 59 Phobies. The cool 59 Phobies. I haven't had any of them break double digits yet as far as levels go. We're getting close. There are a handful of level 9s in here. Oh yeah, we did want to do that, Izumi. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, like my Snowball's level 9 now. Oh, I did have one. I did have a couple break level 10 actually. Murder Wing and Jar specifically. Forgot about that. Oh, and Cassowary. I have more than I thought I did. I stand corrected. Yeah, it's looking pretty good at this point. I can't complain. I can't complain. And we're going to be opening a bunch of packs tonight. We have a few things to open tonight. Besides the season pack, we're going to be opening a few dreadful packs. I will do the leveling offline because nobody needs to see me sit here and click the button. Plus, I'm just lazy about it, so I'll do it at some point this week. Probably I'll forget until about Wednesday, and then I'll get frustrated. I'm like, why am I losing these games? Oh, because my guys are way underleveled. But, well, maybe not way underleveled, because as mentioned, like some of these they're getting up there. They're getting up there. They're all pretty solid at this point. Yeah, it'll be pack opening time very soon. We're going to be doing a bunch of dreadful packs, because I think that's what everybody wants to see. We could do a bunch of other ones, but I think we're just going to do big dreadful pack bust and go from there. But in the meantime, I do want to do the game review of the one Phobos game from last night that people were asking about. So this is a game from last night. It was actually the last game last night. And I do not normally review my own games when I win. I know I've done it before, like in general, but I don't like to because it feels like patting myself on the back. What I prefer to do is point out my own mistakes, of which there are many. But I'm fine showcasing other people's victories and, cool plays and that sort of thing. Here, it was specifically requested by chat last night to go over this game because I went second on Phobos. Now, we briefly hypothesized why I was able to win this game. Truthfully, the reason is because I think our opponent is underleveled. They are level like 34 or 35. I went back and looked. And that means they don't have snowballs. So they don't have the optimal going first opener here, which is useful information for anybody who says, well, what if you were to open with something else other than snowball and one drop on Phobos? Well, this is what that game might look like. I went second and elected to just take this point instead of doing the Gravedigger opener because, specifically, our opponent did not have snowball. There is Droney. We don't know if they have Droney. Snowball, at least, you are guaranteed by levels, but Droney could be the very last phobia you open, that sort of thing. So I was so taken aback by their opener that I wasn't really sure. I think you do, if you're going second and this happens, or even if they droney, because Snowball actually represents a damage threat, whereas droney is just an arbitrary body that's there. It doesn't mean anything, realistically. So, what we could have done here is bait them in with the Gin Sting, by like putting the cassowary here or something, so that they try and claim this. They'll never do it, so that's why I like to just throw this on here. They could have still killed the cassowary here, though. They move the Gin Sting here, they move this in, so realistically, this was probably over-aggressive. I would have been able to then put our Gin Sting on the stem, hit it for, 8, we'll say 13. Like, it probably would have traded cassowary for Gin Sting, which was the reason why that I went for the more aggressive line. I hate using droney on Phobos because it doesn't leverage you, and they send a Rusty and you would need to fly away. I mean, they're not going to send a Rusty, but yes, I get the point, Scrungle. You could easily push away a droney without a whole lot of effort. He's just good for panic points. Well, we've seen a lot of droney assassins on this stream, believe me. We've seen a lot of droney assassins. I've even gotten a couple myself. Good job, me. But anyway, I don't know if this is the appropriate mid-game thing. We don't have a ton of damage here if we split off even a single phobie. So I wanted to sneak the cat up here to try and reclaim this point, but our opponent left the cat there for a while, as you'll see. I don't know if getting the spider this early is worth it, but this forces them to kind of play back. The problem is since I don't have an overwhelming panic point advantage right now, the spider forcing them to play back doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like, they can equalize the panic points here, and it's like, all right, we just wait. Now, the spider is, of course, a threat, so they can't really advance and threaten me, and I get a lot more maneuverability. But it might have been too soon. I don't know. And obviously, they match with their spider, so we're kind of in the same position. This statue, I could have broken way, way sooner, but I didn't go to work on it for a while. And I think I should have, so that I had the opportunity, even if I can't cap this top one, cap one of these. Bottom line is I really need to get more panic points, because I gave our opponent an enormous amount of time to do whatever the hell they felt like, basically. Now, Hevo, mine is under-leveled. Theirs is a level 8. I think mine's like level 6, maybe. I can't see it, but I think it only does like barely over... It does like 402 damage. Point is that I think Hevo might be pretty solid for trying to siege a controlled center point. The reason being is it requires such a huge amount of effort in order to burn through the hit points. And it's still threatening enough. It does less damage, but it's still threatening enough that you have to care about it. So this is part of what I was talking about, where I backed up what I had here with the pterodactyl for damage, but this was kind of pointless. If I move the cat up, they can swing the cat down and trade with cats, and then I don't have the ability to really cap this point easily without letting Snowball sit. But this doesn't do anything. I don't know. I could have put the cat here underneath, because then the cat can't get it, and Primate could come through, but they're not going to do that. I think that would have been better. Who would trade Rusty for Droney? Well, you'd have to find somebody who uses Rusty first. Another problem with this is we obviously traded Snowball. Snowball should have been here. In this position. I know chat pointed this out last night, and I was just... We had a bunch of terrible games before this, so I just kind of didn't care. This position is also bad. The pterodactyl should have been probably on this statue, so that way it could be... I guess it doesn't matter if it was on the statue, but... Could have gone 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't want to get hit with the spider. We needed this up one so that it could actually threaten this top point on this turn. I was trying to do that all along, get the cat on there, and then I just didn't supplement the cat properly. Yeah, started early tonight, Jenna. Started early tonight. So from here is mistake number 2 from our opponent. What? I'm looking at chat. What the hell are you talking about, Scrungle? Droney can assist with a boop yoink, though. Yes, Droney does have other purposes. But I didn't... So back to the game. I don't like the Barzilla here. But as I mentioned before, we're doing a whole lot of nothing. Pulling this pterodactyl back is also kind of bad. I was very worried about it getting yoinked and then blown up. Because the leap could have happened, the Jin Sting could have happened, a pull, maybe Barzilla to get all of them to connect, and then we lose the pterodactyl for nothing. Gravedigger in his castle, it's true. I mean, this isn't a terrible idea. It's going to take me effort to break through, and it did. And at this point is where, like, I gave up every advantage we had, and I don't really have a great position to siege with. Now we do, well, maybe not every advantage. The one advantage remaining is that we still have a ton of health. Now this is a mistake that I made here. So this is something that I did just straight up miss. I'm going to blame it on being tired, but I did miss it. So I was planning on yoinking this. I didn't know if I had the damage. I was just going to try it. I move up here, pull the Barzilla. What should have happened is I move everything in, except for Cassowary. You light up the Barzilla. So it's 2 hits from Jin Sting, 2 from Innocuous, 1 from Pterodactyl, 1 from Rambolina. The Rambolina boops. The Rambolina boop pushes Barzilla back onto this panic point. Then I can move Cassowary to where the Barzilla was pulled to, and then kill it. As you'll see, I made my life exceptionally more complex because I let this Barzilla live with like 200 health or something like that. Okay, Scrungle. It's hard to follow the inside jokes if you don't know them. So because we didn't have a way to swing Rambolina in, this ultimately lives with 201 health. Obviously would have died if we got even one more hit on it. And we would have lost something on the return. What we would have lost, I don't know necessarily. It probably would have been Rambolina because they could have attacked with like basically everything. But that would have been a worthwhile trade, and it, you know, we would have been ready to then invade after that because they would have had to commit as they're doing now in order to get the Rambolina. So we could have counter-killed even more stuff, as well as have the follow-up here. So, like, imagine this board state. Rambolina's gone, Barzilla's dead, but I can slide Hevo to where the Pterodactyl is and then AoE these 3 and zap everything, and I think we just would have been better off. Plus, we possibly would have kept the Cassowary, depending on how much damage they had to sink into the Rambolina. Now, I do get a Rambolina boop here, just get an auto kill. And I have to recap points because, oh yeah, by the way, they have all 6 panic points. But here's where things get really complicated. Because they have not just Dr. Dermic, but Clinico. Now, in retrospect, I'll be honest, chat, I don't have any idea whether it would have been better to let it live knowing that they were going to do this, or kill it. I don't know. Yeah, it's an enormous amount of healing. This thing went back to almost full health. But at the same time, they have 7 keys tied up in Phobies that can't really interact with the board for the most part. Now, I have to win with these 4 Phobies at this stage against what they have left. So not exactly in spectacular shape, but, you know, they can't fight us, and I was banking on, because I'm down to 44k health, we're going to take a ton, but we can get this Jin Sting. And I was just kind of hoping that I was going to be close enough. The very moment Barzilla came to field, the loss was already peeking from the shadows. Yeah, honestly, Akune, I kind of agree. Barzilla is generally not worth it. The problem is, I don't think Barzilla can get much more without it being oppressive. Like, say it got another 200 health, and then that's scaled up. I don't know. It feels like it would be too many stats. I think the double heal was a mistake. Dermic itself is pretty good. A baby snake or something would have been better. Yeah, I agree. So from here on out, the rest of the game, and I'm just going to let it play through and explain. The rest of the game is me making sure that I don't give up any panic points. Because while we're going to kill this Jin Sting, because our opponent elected to leave it there, we're down to 489 health on the heart. So while a single panic point wouldn't kill us, it'll be 470, it's close enough that I didn't want to risk anything. But I think our opponent needed to also, like, really commit. I get pulling back because it's, oh, I don't want to lose right now. But at this stage, I think I've stabilized the game, and there's no way, like, they want to swing Gravedigger down across the bottom and try and hit the heart that way. That's not happening. Now, the one risk I took here was swinging the Hevo to the top just to get a panic point breathing room. Plus, this puts pressure on my opponent now. Yeah, they didn't push with the Barzilla, but it would have... The Barzilla was here. So it would have gone 1, 2, 3, 4. It would have ended up in this spot. I could have hit it twice with this, twice with this. Should be 8, 16. We'll round up and say 18. So this lives because I can't kill the Barzilla and the Jin Sting. The Gravedigger's trying to sneak across the bottom. They eventually give this plan up because they want to break the block. Because again, I'm under 500 health. So it would have, you know, the only moment where Barzilla would have come in clutch. Honestly, I think they needed to invade. As soon as they backed off, I think the game was over. As long as I didn't accidentally get a bunch of my Phobies killed, now that they're on this side of the board, there's no way they can run the gauntlet. They're going to get tagged by a whole bunch of things as they run across, and they can never pressure the heart again. Honestly, I don't think I did anything spectacular. I don't think I made any cool plays or chose any particular Phobies that were like, oh, well, this is the reason that I won. I think it came down to our opponent was under-leveled, didn't have the appropriate opener. Because if they had the snowball opener, they could have capped points more quickly, threatened my stuff faster off the bat, and I probably would have taken the panic point damage that I did not, and therefore died. The other part is our opponent made multiple errors after that. The Barzilla just choosing it, the double healing, the non-invade. There were a number of different points in this game where our opponents still could have won it. And I think if any of those went their way, they take the game. In all honesty, I don't know how I win the game otherwise. I mean, something like this is basically how you come back. So we'll skip through. There's really nothing else to show. Like, and that's how you win going second on Phobos. Which, truthfully, being in the first player seat, I've thrown a bunch of games going first on Phobos, and I think it really feels like that's how you lose on Phobos going first, is you have to throw it away. Which is true, I guess, in virtually every scenario, that the better player is supposed to win. If your opponent makes no mistakes and you make mistakes, then your opponent wins. However, I think the difference with Phobos is that you have to make either way worse mistakes or way more mistakes, or both, in order to give the game away. When you invest in boss Phobies, 6+ keys, you cannot make them passive. They have to be in the first place doing at least something. I agree. And originally, at the start of the Barzilla's career in that game, it was up there and fighting. And I think they did have the plan to swing around. But I guess maybe they counted it up and thought I had lethal damage. I don't know. They could have put the Barzilla in range, and I don't think I could have killed both the Barzilla and the Jin Sting. I hate Phobos. I agree with you, Vazia. I think it is far and away the worst map they have. Not just in this pool. Not just in this map pool. But, like, the worst map they have. I don't know how to fix it, truthfully. But I'm going to be very happy when this rotates out. There are maps that I really don't like. Most of this pool I'm fine with. Now, I do poorly on Billy's Room. I have really, like, I'm really streaky on that map. I'll do really well, and then I'll just do horrendous. I feel kind of the same way about Eternal Monday. I like the Big House. I like RCO. Pluto seems okay. Mysomania seems good, although I'm not doing well on it. Magnificent seems weird, and oddly right now, it's 2-1 in favor statistically of the second player right now. Like, they're winning 66% of the games out of the ones. Now, the sample size is 13 games, so, like, let's not go crazy, but, you know. But Phobos just, I don't know. I haven't tracked the stats for Phobos. I haven't gone and looked it up. I do plan on doing it eventually. I just haven't gotten around to it. But even, let's assume for the moment that Phobos is even or close to even. Like, it's within margins of error or deviations from the mean kind of thing. You know, like, it's within the realm of respectability as far as 50-50 win rate goes, first player, second player. It still feels horrendous. Like, I don't know. It feels like the entire game it comes down to a single turn. And if you get, like, some miraculous boop or pole or something, you can stage a comeback. I don't know. It just doesn't feel good to play on this map. It just feels disastrous. And it's not, oh, well, I overcame this, you know, like, I defeated the big bad on this map. I overcame all the challenges. It just, like, it just feels exhausting. And when you lose going first, it feels horrible because it's like, how did I lose? I don't know. Classic example of a half-baked push right. If you're going to go for the hard, go for it. If you're defending, defend. Trying to do both, anyone would lose. Yeah, probably. Get a little hydrate action. One more hour. Getting closer. So we'll do a couple game reviews. I'll probably take a break right before things kick over. Reload the client, and then we'll do some pack opening. I poisoned a Babaha one time, then it gets healed, understandable, everybody has Clinico, and then I poisoned it again while Clinico is on cooldown, and then they pulled out Metabot out of nowhere. No. Oh, no. That map, like, the Floor's Lava is unbalanced. Floor's Lava really feels bad, too. Because you can cap so many panic points so fast on that map. I don't know. I've been thinking about this offline, because I think Vazy's right. And I'd love to see the stats. I doubt the Phobies team will ever release this. There are some games that do release stats like this. Other ones don't. But there's no chance in hell that they are not tracking this. I would love to know what the statistics are, broken down by rank, I guess, of whether player 1 goes first and wins, or player 1 going first wins or loses on Phobos, Floor's Lava, these other maps. Because I'm sure there are a lot of people that just throw on these maps going first that equalize things. But it just feels like it's just such a hurdle to overcome going second. And I wonder if it would be better served if the maps were asymmetrical. Although I constantly compare the game to both chess and Go, as well as RTSs, it's closer to chess and Go, clearly. It's turn-based, not real-time. And the reason that matters is in real-time strategy games, if you have a symmetrical map, you can have stuff like this because you're acting literally at the same time. Now, there's a component if somebody has higher APM that they have an advantage or whatever, but that's part of the game. For turn-based ones, every turn-based game has this where going first generally is better, and then there has to be some compensating factor for it. In Magic or the WoW TCG, you get to draw a card on going second. In Hearthstone, you also get the coin. In Runestrike, you get the mana orb, and of course you draw cards. But like, I don't know. You get keys. It doesn't feel like enough. It feels like there should be something else. Maybe like one of the panic points should be positioned differently. So like, not necessarily that you get a panic point easier, but it's more difficult for player one to get a panic point. The problem is after the first turn, that becomes really strange because now player one has to, their advantage is very temporary. It'll even out over the course of the game, like the longer the game goes. My hot take, maps like Phobos and the floor is lava where everyone thinks going first is too much advantage are actually fine because, in my opinion, player one is always a huge advantage. In some maps, people have figured that out, and others they haven't. I think it's more egregious on certain maps, though, DT. Yeah, I didn't mean to make it sound like Hearthstone doesn't get an extra card, Luffy. I was just, adding that on. Imagine we get that perfectly balanced map. I think most of the maps are pretty close. They just require... You can't have identical play patterns. Now, to DT's point, I don't think all the maps are equally painful going second. Or they're not equally painful in the same ways, maybe? And that's the thing. When we were talking about this last night, I think Gakuen was bringing it up. We'll eventually hit a point where people have discovered all of the appropriate openers for the given maps. And then it's a matter of, okay, do you have the Phobies? But if we assume you have the whole pool, you have access to everything at the appropriate levels, whether that's max or otherwise, maybe it is that going first will always be an advantage and it will always be problematic. I just don't think that it's equally problematic on all maps. And it feels significantly worse on floors, lava, and Phobos. It's clearly not impossible to win going second. It just feels really bad. Phobie selection in game has a huge impact. In chess, we have good openings for white, but no matter what's the advantage, the mid-game is where the real beast to tame. Exactly. There are tons of games that I've reviewed, including the one we just talked about, where changing one phobie to another, or changing one phobie into multiple in the case of like the Barzilla, will dramatically impact how the game looks. Dramatically change how the game looks. And games are won and lost because you chose the wrong phobie. Defender's advantage is a thing in just about every genre, especially anywhere with a spawn location, but you also have such an incredibly fortified position like Phobos and Pluto. Going first is king where it's a symmetrical map. The thing is Defender's advantage should not really play in to a lot of these scenarios. The battle is intended to be around this, but I agree with the other part of your statement, Luffy, that the fortification here, because you can't really reinforce quickly, it's not I pop something out and then I can immediately start sieging, or I pop something out and then I can go fight the next turn. You're vulnerable here. And that's true on other maps like Pluto. If you're here, technically if your opponent's staging on the stem, they could invade. But realistically in both maps, but more so here, it's wide open. They can target whatever they want. They can target with multiple things, like advance with a bunch of stuff, and then pick off whatever you want while you're waiting. So now you have to sit back even farther. And that might be the biggest thing, and the biggest difference is like this choke point. If you, like, okay, they kill a phobie here unless they have flying or something, or a lob. Here, if you stage on these and they invade with 3 Phobies, they could probably pick off 2, and it's like, okay, I reinforce, maybe get a hit. I don't know. I like Floor's Lava in both positions, maybe one of my favorites. I actually do like that map, but it does feel as though the map is heavily weighted to going first, Gakuen. I missed that earlier. Just feels like the new maps you can set up and then it's easy to defend. I still like the maps, but not being able to veto is rough. I don't know if that's necessarily true for Magnificent. I mean, to a degree. And I need to try Honey Bear on Phobos more. I like Honey Bear on Pluto. I think on Phobos it's going to be difficult just because, like, it takes a while to get into position, but maybe it's fine because you could go 1-2, then move up and vomit from, like, here. It's probably fine. A central stim just gives major first turn privileges. Yeah, to a degree. I don't think the old maps on any of them, we had stims in a centralized location like this. I have a Phobos game going second and 1 against Playmaker 12. I spent hard HP for setting up a defense success. I think that's what you have to do, and Doc mentioned this 2 streams ago, whenever it was, and I agree with the idea in principle that you need to play it like a control deck. You need to expend hard health in order to build your board position to where you want to be. The problem I've found is I don't feel like it's too challenging for player 1 to get in a position where you just can't, like, you can't advance because they're fortified, but they control a bunch of the panic points on the wings, so you have to split forces off, and you just can't for some reason. Magnificent seems fine to me. Yeah, the map seems fine. It's still new, so I haven't played a ton of games on it, but it seems fine. Have the stim on Phobos not active for the first couple turns? I'd be curious if they would be willing to do that, truthfully, like have elements of the map shift over time. You know, you could have abyss tiles. Like, what if they had tiles, like this was an old platformer, you know, like you're standing on something and then the platform breaks. So after so many turns, the tile turns into an abyss tile or something like that. It'd be interesting. 11-game win streak ended due to walls and Chuck? Oh, no. Yeah, I agree, Gakuen, but that's not to say that, I mean, player actions factor in dramatically. While I do joke about and harp on, both in a serious way and a facetious way, the leveling and phobia availability, we have to recognize that player actions do play an enormous role. Player decisions do decide games, and that's absolutely the case. It's part of the reason why I like doing the game reviews and looking at my own games and talking about Phobies in general, is because it's important to recognize that, yes, you will lose if your opponent is as good as you and they have way more levels. But if you are better than your opponent, you can beat their levels. Got a ping in chat. Or in Discord, rather. I'll have to look at that later. Somebody sent me a video. Alright, chat. Let's do a game review. Probably take a quick break. We got a while. Do a game review or two. Take a break after that. And then we'll see how close we are to kick overtime. I reached Doomsday 1 Arena and I'm instantly, and if you lose one more game, I'll punch you in a Primals 3. It can be tough when you first get promoted. It's like, oh, I got up there. Oh, no, I made a mistake. So our hero here is in the orange trunks on Eternal Monday, as mentioned. We get a fairly standard opener if you don't have Snowball. I've seen a lot of Snowballs on basically every map. Basically every map, it's like open with Snowball. This makes no sense from our hero here. So, this has got to be a dead cassowary. This is super aggressive. The opener from our hero here is weird, regardless. We have a Jill and a Cassowary. Okay, it's a 1-drop and a 2-drop. You banked for Blinky. Alright, the Jill is a little weird, but alright, we'll go with it. But this is absolutely a dead Cassowary, or should be. At the very least, this swings in, and then you can get a jar right on the stem. And I think that's what we're about to see. Yep. And chop. By the way, I don't know if anybody noticed, but Gravedigger's arm isn't, like, this cleaver arm isn't actually attached. It's actually on a string. If you notice it, it, like, detaches when he swings it. It's a wild weapon, like, the minor details. But this is actually kind of hilarious, because this murder wing is somewhat trapped. It's not really trapped, but it's kind of funny. So they pull back. I guess they couldn't kill this 337. Yep. So they couldn't trade with the murder wing. But obviously you get a good chunk of health missing on it. Possibly a dead Gravedigger here. So yes, Gravedigger goes down. Cassowary for Gravedigger at this stage. Well, Cassowary and Jill. So 3 for 3 keys, and the Gravedigger probably wasn't doing anything else at this point in time. Like, past this point, I've seen some people really go all in on breaking every obstacle on this map that they can. I don't know that it's needed, but at this point, to be honest, our bad guy, I feel like they are in a very strong position for the most part. Like, we should get a takedown here, because Meatball will be back online. It's just going to be a matter of whether this Maggie can go down. Wow. Our hero is hell-bent on getting in there. We even get a Misanthrope. If anybody remembers the Misanthropes, so we'll see if we get a Misanthrope on the stem like we got in Billy's room. Twice. We get a takedown here. I don't know about this one. So I think the better play would have been to kill the murder wing, leave the cat, because who cares? No. You could even put this on the stem. Like we were just talking about when we were talking about Phobos, using your heart health as a resource. Your army composition at this point is way better than your opponent's, right? So you do need to cap points back. So they could have gone a 5-drop and a 1-drop here. Say a Stairmaster, put it right on the stem immediately. So swing this over. And I know our hero's in the orange trunk, so we should be talking about their plays. But so this is the start of the turn. You're doing 578. You don't have to kill this. Oh, yeah, I guess you do. Yeah, so I think what you do is you swing Jar to here. This is doing 389. So you put Jar... No, yeah, you can do this. Can you? Because you need a ranged guy here, Jar here, but then Murder Wing can't come over to hit this. So you put Jar here, hit the Murder Wing, fly over Meatball, put the ranged guy here, kill this, and then put a 1 key on the stem so they can't take it, in case you care. Then you've eliminated Maggie and Murder Wing. Yes, you have a cat on your heart, but who cares? And you're in a position to just start wiping the floor with the rest of what they have. This feels like... I don't know, leaving them with this feels dangerous. And if this was Arena, maybe they just missed it. I don't know. Maybe they forgot. So instead, bad guy's still taking damage. We can't pressure as the good guy any longer, though. I mean, you could soften them up. And I was wondering whether we were going to see the Misanthrope go in to try and take the center point. But I kind of expect a Crushmore plus Wing invade here. Or not. Okay, they play it safer. And they go for Sparky. I don't know about that one. Which one is the good guy or hero in the orange trunks? The middle point is the good guy. Seven keys to counter misanthrope. Definitely a Chad, obviously. That could be true, DT. But we do have a misanthrope threatening the stim again, chat. Chat, DT's gonna have an aneurysm. What? It wouldn't die. I guess they didn't want it on the stim. But, like... I don't know. Backing it off like that seems weird. I love the way that Misanthrope just, like, trundles backwards. Like, it's just so stupid. It's so funny to me. Oh my god. I don't know how the hell our hero wins this. Unless there's another egregious mistake here. They could have just killed the Misanthrope. What, last turn? When it was here? Because they moved it here. They had to move twice. What is this at? 9? This does... I think they would have been just short if they attacked it normally. Because, yes, you can kill it from the stem, but it started down here, so I think it did. Yeah, or it started over here. They could have blocked it in. Oh, yeah, if they just hit it with the jar again. I forgot they moved the jar. But yes, they could have got it. I feel like at this point we're just nitpicking things, chat. Yes, we found a lot of mistakes. If you cover up the name, it could have been one of my games. So this is how our hero wins. Triple panic, point advantage. Our bad guy has already shown that they are very concerned about, well, getting hit by anything. Because they're not willing to let anything stick out here. And they just don't have enough phobies to recap these points quickly enough, I think. That's a lot of damage they had to sink in to kill this Stabby as well. Only to end up with the Sparky on the lava. Because they did... I think they made the correct choice here about having to recap this point and not, like, attacking from up here. I don't win with Misanthrope. 1 control game with 2 other phobies. 2 to persuade opponent to not attack anything. True. True. Hey, Fuse, what's good? Yeah, passive is correct. Like, look at this. The Sparky even came back. I understand, but, like... You gotta kill stuff. That bit... Wait, what? Oh, okay. Okay. I was gonna say, like, you can't just let it come in on the heart. But this is probably dead and they recap this point? Or are they gonna swing to the top one? I'm gonna hold this because this is 1600 health. It's gonna be able to tank these hits. I encountered another Sparky in this exact same map. I even talked about this before in the person using Sparky on Eternal Money. Completely different person. Gotcha. I mean, I've talked about Sparky a lot before. I think Sparky's really cool, but I don't think Sparky's good. This person, the bad guy, just refuses to let their phobies die, but dying with all the toys means you still died. For some reason, people like Sparky on this map. Chat, that is brutal. The trap to make sure that it's still a 3-0 panic point. Ouchtown population bad guy. Well played. Well played. Thanks for sending this game in. Chat, yeah, that was a lot of errors, but bad guy was only stress level 21. Presumably still very, very new to the game. But there were a lot of plays there that it goes to show you that, like, yes, player decisions are what matters. Blue clutch defeat from the jaws of victory. I think that's an apt way to put it, Luffy. I think that is a very appropriate description. Because that... just because you preserve all your phobies doesn't mean that you're going to win. It's an important component of the game, preserving your phobies. But at the same time, that if you die with a bunch of phobies on the board, you still die. So we don't have any notes for this one, but Taco is our hero here in the orange trunks, going up against Goonbat. So the question is Goonbat a baseball bat for goons? Or used by goons? Or is it a bat as in the flying mammal that is a goon? I'm not clear, and I think that is the most pressing question in the Phobies community today, personally. But sometimes you just must return keys to not lose. So yeah, we get a Squiggles and Sucky opener. I'm sorry, chat. I have to think about this one. Like... what? Wait, they banked on one? I was busy laughing at the name. They banked on one. What? What is happening? Chat, this is going to be one of those games. This is one of those games. Hey, Mazako, what's good? So we get the Squiggles. Yeah, new strats. I mean, Squiggles, I don't mind in general. Honestly, on this map, maybe Squiggles isn't bad. You know, you could sneak it to their stim and then just go ham. It'll never happen. Your opponent's going to see it coming from, like, 7 eternities away, but... I mean, you're gonna research this one? Yeah, put it in the book, Daisy. You gotta start taking notes. That's how you become a better Phobies player. I mean, seriously, that's how you do it. But in this case, I don't know if this is what we want. You have to, the new meta, you have to bring Suckies and Squiggles simultaneously. It's true. The strat doesn't work without it. But we end up seeing Quagmire come down. I don't know about this. Taco's break on this obstacle. That obstacle is obnoxious. It can screw with your positioning, but, like, is that really necessary? I don't know. Seems weird to me. The Squiggles positioning is also weird. So Squiggles was down here and then swung up here. Unless Sucky is going to take this point or Squiggles is, but either of them could have done it anyway. You could have had Squiggles lower so the Sucky could leap and hit this, as opposed to being blocked by Squiggles. But instead, we're going to get the Quagmire invade. Makes sense. Panic point advantage goes blue. Squiggles and Sucky, the team together, taking over the map. Oh, the obstacle gone, you can jar on the stim pad? I mean, you can do that anyway. Like, you could swing it through the bottom. Unless you mean, like, you put it here so that you specifically could get a shot off and then swing it in. I can see that. So we have a very strange mix of... wait, what? Timeout. I mean, I guess this got beat up, but... I don't know that... I don't know. It feels weird. I understand there's scenarios where you're going to want to use Clinico or Dermic or Muffin or whatever on a Quagmire / Alligator. But at the same time, it still feels weird. Still feels weird. So I think we're going to see... Yeah, dead baby Snakey. Dead Sucky. Sorry, Sucky fans. No bueno. Right now, Team Normal Picks is doing pretty good. Sucky, no! I think you're correct, Scrungle. I think that math works out, right? So yeah, right now, Team Normal Picks for Billy's Room is, ooh, we even get a block with the Gravedigger. This does kind of free up the jar to, you know, it's only covering the middle at this point, but we're looking at 47.75. It's still going to be a while when this top point gets recapped. You know, like, blue player's not in immediate danger. And we get an invade to kill this Gesundheit. I actually like that play. That's pretty good. Going Sucky and Quagmire to play passive was one of the plays of all time. True. Yeah, I feel like there's at least 4 layers to this joke going on in chat right now. That's a dead Quagmire, so that invade... Trading Gesundheit for Quagmire seems like a good trade. And we get to follow up Erratic. This game was just weird, chat. This was really weird. I don't feel as though Taco was ever really in danger at all. It definitely was a unique opener, and given some better positioning, honestly, it didn't seem terrible from our blue player. So... You know, like, they didn't have to lose the Quagmire. They didn't have to lose some of the earlier game stuff. Classic Sucky game. Yeah, that's probably true, Hakune. I don't know what the rank is. Literally just the banking was the problem on turn 1. I don't understand the bank unless it was just an error. So we do have triple panic point blue, though. There is that, but I don't think Spud, Bone Mangles, and... Murder Wing are going to... Yeah, what? Okay. Assassin Clinico could turn the game around. Assassin Clinico can only do so much. Can only do so much. We're just watching the slow demise of our blue player here, chat. This was a weird one. This was a weird one. The bank into that opener was very strange. I have to wonder, was this an arena game and they just, you know, missed their turn 1 because of reasons? Maybe accidentally were, like, playing on mobile and hit the end turn button too quick or something like that. I don't know, Hakune. Honestly, like, I could have seen this go the other way, but there were a ton of errors, obviously. Like, all the mistakes add up. It's not just the Phobies chosen. Like, the Phobies chosen here might have worked out if they were utilized a little differently. But GG. Well played, Taco. Well played. Alright, chat, I'm back. I'm not gonna lie, chat, I'm kind of dragging ass today. I'm really hungry. I don't know why. I just feel like energy level's very low. And I'm gonna try and get hyped for the pack opening, but man, it's just a struggle today. I had to have some peanut butter crackers in the break because I just need something. I'm hungry. Personally, my eating schedule is all kind of out of whack. Like, and I mean, my diet is all kinds of messed up anyway. Part of it's doing diabetic stuff. Part of it's just like trying to ensure that I don't gain a bunch of weight or the diabetes stuff. But yeah, my eating schedule is all out of whack. So I missed most of this game, obviously, but it doesn't look like Vazey's kind of in control here. And we do see a Barzilla. Oh my god. I have to wonder... Don't worry, a Heartbreaker would hype you up more than 10 cups of coffee would. I don't know. 3 cups of coffee and I feel like I'm gonna vibrate out of a chair. Like, it's bad. So 10 cups of coffee would probably... Like, I don't even know what would happen. I just would not feel good. I can tell you that much. But yeah, a Heartbreaker would be pretty hype. I'm sorry to hear that, Scrungle. Hope you're not sick or something. But as far as this game goes, it feels like this was a poor selection of Phobies on our first player's part. Now, I only saw the last few turns, but I saw a Paddles and a Scritch on the board. And I have to imagine that that's too many utility Phobies and not enough meaningful Phobies. But I could be wrong. Could be wrong. So chat, before I jump into the next game, I have a general question for you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, which hopefully you've made it this far, likes and subscribes do help, seriously. Or you can come by the live stream, RTChompGG over on Twitch. But let me know in the comments how you feel about this question. So chat, I've been doing a bunch of stat collection. Basically, as I'm editing videos, let's say, because I have to sit there and I'm listening to it and watching it, and even at 2x speed, if I'm watching my 6-hour stream, guess what, that's 3 hours, assuming I don't cut stuff out, which then causes more editing time, meaning gotta do more stuff. So, point is, I will go through and I will look through people's games. Specifically, top ladder players, right? Now, like, we'll say top 20. Say top 20. So, we go through these games, and then I've been adding all of this data to a spreadsheet. And then I've been making infographics out of them and posting them to my Discord. So I'll probably publicize them in a more widespread, grandiose way once I feel that I have more data. It's just slow going because, like, if we go into this game, just look back at this, because this would be a relevant game if I wanted, because I have it broken up by maps, and right now I'm looking at Pluto and Magnificent mostly. But if I wanted to look at Phobos, this would be a good game, because it's like, oh, well, let me look at this game. Vazey won going second. Vazey's a strong player, obviously, so what did they do? And then I go through and I write down who went first, what was their level, when was the game played, obviously, what was the map, and then every phobie that they play, when they bank, and whether they maxed out on phobies on each turn, and break it down. And then I run a bunch of stats against it to see, okay, well, which are the most prevalent phobies, what's the win rate for phobies. That's something I'm working on because I have to do it within the context of my spreadsheet and blah, blah, blah. You can recognize a quest game. Well, that's part of it, is I have to go through the game and find the quest games. So I have to watch them. It would be great if there was an API to pull it, and I would also love it if people weren't doing quest... Yeah, big brain, right? If people weren't doing quest games on ladder, but I don't blame them for it because there's no other way to do it since it's not in frenemies. For me, it would make my life easier if I could assume going in, okay, this is a live game, not I get 6 turns in. Because I can't skip the turns because I may not notice, oh, well, by the way, nothing died until I've wasted a whole bunch of time. Eventually, I'll figure it out. But it's just kind of obnoxious that is the case. But the actual question, after explaining all that, I just want to unfavorite this. The actual question for chat, is that something people want to see? Is that something that you care about? Is that something that people would want to look at? I have the first one, like one of the initial ones, in the Discord already. I have it in the subscriber area. I have the second one for Magnificent ready to go. I need to get more data, and that's part of the problem, is just it takes time for me to go through all these games. Just data entry just takes a really long time. Now, if there were an API, I might be able to include the quest games and just kind of like, they'll fall out in the noise. You know what I mean? So if we go to the leaderboard and say, I don't know how many people are, is there any way to see how many people are in a given league? I don't think so, right? But if we assume that there's, say, I'm making up numbers. Say there's 1,000 people in Sum of All Fears. That's Sum of All Fears 1, Sum of All Fears 2, and Sum of All Fears 3. If there's 1,000 people in there, and even if they're all running quest games periodically, the quantity of games should overwhelm the quest games, you would think. This works only if viewers would contribute as well. The data accumulation would rise dramatically. Yes and no. There are logistical problems with doing that, Akune. Yes, it would increase my data collection. It would help. But that means I need to let other people touch my spreadsheets. And I'm very controlling with my spreadsheets. After pack opening, I think it might hit level 50 for Foul. I probably will forego. I don't think I'll do it tonight, because I don't want to sit here and make people suffer through me leveling things, but I mean, we could talk about other stuff while we're doing it. For Tute, so yes, I have it set up like one of those, we'll call them nice-looking infographics. I don't know if you're in my Discord, which, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, Random Thoughts, hit up the Discord. It's in the description. !Discord on the live stream, of course, as I just put in there. I have one that I'll post in the next day or so once I get some more feedback on it. We have 104 Sum of All Fears players in Arena. How do you... does that show somewhere in Client? Or did you go to, like, number 105 and see what league they were in? Like, we go to number 105. Oh, here it is. I was like, where do we see their league? And it's right here. So, this is Primals. This is Sum of All Fears. Okay. You just scrolled? Okay. That's what I figured. Only make rules of data from others, must have a specific and precise format graph. And yes and no, because it's the internet. I don't have a problem with doing that at Kune. It's probably something, believe me, the thought has crossed my mind because the data entry just takes too long right now. I'm trying to find optimized ways, but we'll see. You can see their points on the leaderboard. Oh yeah, you're right. I could have just looked at this. What is the bottom threshold for this? 3,000. I don't know why. I keep clicking the wrong button. So all of these people are also Sum of All Fears, but they are in their demotion set of games. Because this was the 104 was the last person. So we have 100 people, like basically 100 people. Yes, it's 104, but 100 makes a rounder number for me. That makes it easier to try and calculate some of the stuff, so. But yeah, I need more data. If people are interested in seeing that sort of stuff, I am putting it together. I'm going to try and, I just want to get to at least like 50 games and then go from there. Now, and I keep clicking out of this, but I was only going with like the top 10 or 20 players when I was looking at games. And then like I said, trying to determine, was this a quest game? All right, throw it out. And then document everything. And clearly, with that small number of players, hitting 50 games on, say, Magnificent, which only rotated in this week, we could probably get it now, but it wasn't quite there when I started it. 100 people in Sum of All Fears, 20 in Sum of All Fears 3. Oh, okay. It's good to know. I wish there was something on... I know that it's here with the points, as DT pointed out, but it would be nice if there was, like... They have this for the top 3, which is cool, but have another demarcation point to break off where the different rankings are, because I don't remember. In Async, we have 466 players in Sum of All Fears. Honestly, I'm focusing on Arena, but maybe the better way to do it would be to go to Async. I care about Arena, so that's why I'm doing Arena. But Async, at least on paper, it's okay, well, people will make the optimal moves. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's just people getting clobbered by numbers. I don't know. We'll see. All right, Chad, I think we got time for one more game review. We've done way more, well, not way more, but we've done more than I originally slated for this weekend. And that's despite, like, I played a bunch of games, which was fun. I'm glad that I was able to get a bunch of games in because I just had missed playing Phobies. We were doing so many game reviews that I couldn't manage to squeeze in games. So our hero here is staygold in the blue trunks, zoning in on the map that's kind of kicking my ass lately, and that's Mysomania. We get Bowmangles and Bachelor. This is a little abnormal as far as openers go. I mean, I've been going with Gravedigger, but I've seen a lot of more mobile things. You're so hyped. Chad is ready for this season rollover. They're excited. They are excited. I don't blame you. It's fun getting new stuff, right? Getting new toys is fun. So we do get the Gravediggers. Bad guy banked up to 7. This map, many people use Gravedigger and Quagmire the next turn. I would if I had Quagmire. But I like Gravedigger just opening this up so you have the opportunity to just straight run 1 keys in there instead of having to awkwardly reposition things. Plus, there's the opportunity to do stuff like this, like maybe open up other blocks. I like the idea of opening this one, this middle one, so that way you can swing things to the healing spa. And I do appreciate, getting back to more specifics here, I like Honey Bear here from staygold. We'll see if it works out, but the idea of Honey Bear here, of course, is it gives you a staging point to try and defend here. It probably wasn't necessary yet, because you could have vomited, like, right out of the stim, for the most part. Like, this seems unnecessary, because they don't even have a threat here. It's like they break it with Gravedigger and send in Cat. Like, who cares? Yeah, you can also disable the stim as well. I don't understand this break either. This one seems okay. Staygold here must have been watching one of my games on this map where I got clobbered because there were a couple games that my opponent swung in and was able to race on the heart and I couldn't defend properly. This seems excessive, both breaking this, although, you know, it gets it ready for later, and the Honey Bear. Like, there's just no threat from our orange player down here right now. I think Vazey's right. Like, sending this up to try and disable the stim and kill it. Granted, again, there's nothing positioned there to get the jar, but, like, you could invade here with the Honey Bear. In theory, async lets you find the best possible play each turn, but in practice, async players just turn through turns very quickly without context, and arena players are probably spending more time thinking about optimal plays. That's kind of where I'm at, DT. I think you're right. I think you're right. First time getting a gold pack. Hope it's not something like Sock Acid. I mean, Sock Acid, I'm okay with having more 1-drops. I just like having more 1-drops. But yes, there are more exciting ultra rares to get. I know we're not calling anything out in particular. in this game right now, other than the specific phobies that are hitting the board. Like, we get a Woolly Bully follow-up, get a Noxious here. I like the Noxious. It's going to be problematic for staygold, although with Gravedigger and Crushmore, it means that you could easily get things onto the healing spot, because you can just break this block. But they're not. They're breaking this one. It does open it up to allow the stim to cover, which is... Alright, I like that. And an Innoculus's follow-up right onto the stim. Now, it's Panic Point advantage orange. This seems pointless because this Honey Bear has like 1 billion health. This is probably a dead Noxious, right? No, they're not going to go for it. 1,700 health. I feel like this Noxious could have died and it wouldn't have required too much, but maybe it did. I'd be pretty hyped to get the only ultra rare that costs less than 3 keys. I mean, I think Sargassen's fine. Yeah, I agree, Akune. Like, extra 1 keys, and ones that are like, I don't like Electric Cat because it's mostly useless. Sargassen, while not great, can still, at least it can attack and do something valuable. And even though the poison is probably not going to be worth it, it forces your opponent to do something about it. You know, like, it at least makes them think. Whereas Sargassen, or, excuse me, Electric Cat feels like it just never does anything. It does basically no damage, and even if it connects with an electric phobia, it's like, okay, I did like 50 more damage, who cares? The reason I paused is this. We have a Heartbreaker on the board, chat. We have a Heartbreaker inbound. Life is about to get way more complicated for staygold. But staygold is on this demolition plan of just annihilating every obstacle on the map. I'm not sure what they're setting up, but they're playing this exceptionally patiently. 11 keys remaining to 9 for the bad guy. Heartbreaker in the chat. I always Innoculus on that stim. It feels nice if you can set it up. Ooh, we get the counter block. This is kind of aggressive from the bad guy. Because it feels like staygold can split their forces here. You know, like, power down something. Yeah. So you power this down. Now, admittedly, all that does is, like, turn off the stem. A little bit more than that. Going after the Gravedigger is also interesting. I guess this is the only thing you could kill given the damage and the positioning. Because you wouldn't be able to get all of this onto, say, the Noxious. And, of course, max Phobies here, so you can't necessarily bring anything else on board. We're going to get a teleport here. Presumably onto the Crushmore. Like, that's a really strong Noxious hit. That's a really clever teleport, too, because they position the jar down here. That's pretty strong. This suddenly looks very scary. As long as our orange player doesn't overcommit like they're doing here, they could have just played it really defensively and probably just picked things off one at a time. I'm not sure why that Gesundheit went in, or the Stabby. That seems really weird. This was a really strong turn from orange until that. Heartbreaker's animations are so good, they really are. It looks really cool. So we get a Muffin in order to keep the Bowmangles alive. A jar to finish it off. The Stabby, that is. And, like, all of a sudden, our orange player has no board position. I don't understand. Like, why did they go in? Like, they kill this. I don't know, Chad. Like, does anybody... Can somebody explain this to me? I wonder if this was arena and they ran out of time. Because you're leaving this alive, and this is... I don't know. This makes no sense to me. Like, why send these in? If these are back here, blue can't do anything. Killing Crush more obnoxious so it gets out of range of Unicorn and Inoculus. Big brain play. Can you... Yeah, oh, Unicorn. When you were saying Unicorn, I was thinking Brony, and I'm like, wait a second. They're... I mean, they could have hit 1, 2, 3... Yeah, they wouldn't reach but with Brony anyway, but I had did a double take there for a second. But yes, pulling it back, like... It doesn't technically get it out of range, because this could walk up and hit it, this can walk up and hit it, but they would still be on fire. But it had to have been they ran out of time, and they just said, okay, I'm going for it. Because now, like, all of a sudden, Staygold's in a pretty decent spot. Not great, Heartbreaker's still alive. This is still alive, Jar's still around, they have keys, although they just invested in an alligator. What's the dude with the sign? That is Wooly Bully with Peekaboo. It's Dr. Traffic's favorite phobie, Morbid. I don't know if Doc is in chat. Oh, this is a great play, chat. Somebody might have to clip this one. Hold on, somebody should probably... We gotta see this. You get the Cyclops hiding up here, but oh no. Speaking of Peekaboo, Peekaboo! Get a little repositioning, but we're gonna probably get a dead Cyclops too. This is pretty cool. Bam! Got him! Oh, and by the way, Bo Mangles will just chill on the stem, get a little heal going. Panic point advantage, blue. It's a rough one. It's a rough one, chat. At this stage, I don't know. I don't see how blue does this. They should be able to invade and kill the alligator. Well, I take that back. Orange is not out of this. Orange is not out of this. Orange is definitely not out of this, but, like, this is still tough. I get the sense this was one of those, we're just gonna do it, because it's like, there's no way they can kill alligator. And we get the yoink. In fact, they can't kill alligator yet. There might have been a way to do it. Like, I wonder if you just move this to the stem, is it more damage? I don't know. Hitting the statue here is a good play. That's a really strong play there. Because you get the splash. And now our hero has to commit into a Heartbreaker. This should be a dead Noxious. The Inoculus plus Spider combo is spectacular. Yep, Lava's gonna get it. I mean, you can kill it now, but doesn't matter. Heartbreaker actually does a surprising amount of damage. So powering this down is reasonable. But this is a lot of slow phobies here. Cassowaries are final hero phobie. Human gets hyped when receiving stuff. True story, Akune. True story. Got them gold packs. See people with silver packs ready to go. You love to see it. Everybody's getting hyped. We're almost there. 1 minute until the pack comes and the season ends. Is everybody feeling like it's Christmas? Is chat feeling like it's Christmas Eve? We actually get a Spider and Jar hit to take down the opposing Jar. That's not one you see every day. Silver Pack Gang. So we're just getting some efficient trades here. Panic point advantage going to blue. It is still going to be a challenge to kill this gator, but blue is not in danger of, like, dying to random heart damage, so they can't really dive it. Just going through the motions at this stage. This was very well played by staygold, although I feel that our bad guy just made an error in the dive on that one turn. Like, that didn't have to happen. It didn't have to be this way. One by one, they fall before the blades of Miss Moffat. But chat, I think it's about that time. Oh, the animation really is cool for Heartbreaker. I might have to use that as the, like when it's doing the ability, use that as the thumbnail for the video. If Orange had just kept it with the Crushmore pick, true story. Honestly, Morbid, I think they win this game if that happens. Well, maybe they don't win the game, but they certainly are in a significantly better position. And just like that, down goes Heartbreaker, and our bad guy is laid low by staygold. Well played. Well played. How do I use Russell? Russell is difficult to use. I wanted to try and experiment with the idea of going with a Russell to encourage mechanical phobies out of my opponent, and then try and counter with electrical phobies, so Russell plus electrical phobies, or something like that. But Russell is, according to most people, not great. You got Smother Mother? Nice. You love to see it. You love to see that. That's awesome. That is awesome. You have enough toys to share with the class. So I guess we'll do some upgrades while I figure out what we're doing. Should we just jump into some games, chat? Should we just jump into some games? Oh, you know what? We're gonna push for this. We're gonna push for this. Go play your Rocket Man. Luffy's just like, you know what? I will play my Rocket Man. So we'll do a few upgrades. So everybody seems like they did pretty well on their, season packs. Seems like it. So we didn't, although we hit snowball upgrades from the packs, we didn't quite get enough to get 2 snowball upgrades. Despite just getting them from hitting the next level up. I got Fire Ant, I love him already. Fire Ant is awesome. Have fun with that, Fuse, because you're going to. I think it'd be kind of frustrating to have those upgrades available in game and not using them in games. It bothers me sometimes, but not really. It usually tilts me when it's like, I know, oh, well, if I just had a couple more levels, I would get this game. You know, like, we had games last night or the night before where there were multiple in a row that I ended up losing. I don't remember if I actually lost the game, but, like, there were scenarios that something lived at 1 health. It's like, yes, that would have died if I had another level. I only got upgrade cards for phobies I don't use. Look at it this way, you're that much closer to new stress level phobies you might use. So at level 4, I don't think this Spud is good enough to use yet, truthfully. But I think Gakuen or somebody was saying it earlier that they were like, oh my god, you have so much XP. But the problem is, you churn through it really quickly. You're close to Oopsie Baby? Nice. Oopsie Baby looks fun and looks real strong. I'm not really doing a great job prioritizing this and figuring out, like, which ones I want to level up. I feel like a fairly common trait with traps and diseases always seem to do some pretty good damage. They generally do. Well, diseases not necessarily, but traps generally do, and they kind of have to where it's high risk, high reward. I'm not a huge fan of that, as it, like, I understand why it exists as a gameplay pattern, but I don't like those sort of things personally. I'd rather go with the more, like, low risk, low reward stuff, so that way I know, like, what to expect. Get a level 10 Gin Sting. That feels real nice. That feels real nice. Hold on, I want to do Pterodactyl. We got a bunch of Pterodactyl upgrades, but I doubt we got 2. I got Russell saying I should not use him. What do I do? It's ultra rare. I think you should try it. I don't have it. Just about everybody that has had Russell has said that it's not good. I don't know that I believe that, but I think you have to warp your own gameplay around the Russell, which means that you're not necessarily warping your opponent's gameplay, you're just warping your own. Yeah, like, you push Russell in one of 2 scenarios, right? Either you put Russell on the board real early, and then, as a result, you're going to push your opponent to do X, Y, and Z. And then you counter X, Y, and Z preemptively. So, that was the scenario I was saying. You push Russell early, and then they go mechanical to avoid the disease, and then you pop out a bunch of electrical phobies. Or you pop out Russell unexpectedly when they've already committed to a bunch of undead or dimensional phobies. But there's so many things you have to consider, like healing spas and muffins and clinicos and dermics and metabots, or do they just tank it? You know, there's a lot of things that make it difficult to leverage. Get that stress level 48. We're getting close. I've never lost to Russell even when I'm mostly undead out. Yeah, I don't think I've ever lost to a Russell either. Falcon shreds some things. Spaghetti does 525 out of the box, and Smiley's disease damage is good, while the poisons seem to have not so good damage. Yeah, there's some poisons like Sheep, where Sheep does a ton of damage, but then there's also like Creep, leveling it out. We actually got a ton of Quagmire upgrades. This thing's ready to go. You'll love to see it. The Snot Monster himself. Like, this is acceptable, right, chat? Like, I don't feel bad putting this in a game. Adding more mucus to the pile, it's true. We were talking about this the other night. Is Quagmire supposed to be industrial runoff? I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be, but I think it's funnier to think of him as a snot monster. Kind of like the Golgothan from, Jesus, it's a Kevin's Dogma. I couldn't think of the word for a second. Shout out to my Dogma fans. Rip George Carlin. We actually got a lot of repeller upgrades, too. Quag and Atelier among the phobies that gain the most benefit from leveling, I think. Probably. Any of the phobies that... Because I think the Boggle Bath and whatever it's called, Regatorate, they also get stats. So, like, any of these things where you're getting secondary stats is going to be better than just plain stat stick upgrading, right? So I guess we are doing a bunch of the upgrading on stream chat. I wasn't planning to, but we're talking about stuff while we're doing it. We already burned through, like, 150,000 XP. We upgraded a bunch of stuff and some a lot, but XP goes very quickly when you get to higher levels. But a level 9 Hevo, I feel much better about this thing now. Feel much better about this thing. What do we upgrade next, chat? How many TED levels do we have? I don't want to make everybody suffer through everything. We'll jump into a game after this. After the TED upgrades, I mean. Yeah, I did do Pterodactyl. That was one of the first ones I made sure I did because I wanted to make sure. I think it's level 8 now, which means it should hit most jars that I'm encountering. Most jars are between 533 and 546. Oop. So it'll hit the 533 ones. And it seems silly to discuss it in those terms, but I think that is very relevant. Probably should level this up too, but like I said, I don't want to make everybody sit through this. We have some new toys we can try out. I want Terror as my second Resurrect Phobie. I'm hoping I feel better about Terror now, because it's not been great for me as of late. Like, sometimes it just takes over a game, and sometimes it's just not good enough. Alright, we're on the new map. We're on Magnificent. Yeah, that last game, I don't want to blame it on, like, oh, well, I was talking to chat, but I absolutely was not paying attention, even remotely. There was no point in that game where I was not just, quote-unquote, doing things. I don't think it mattered, Scrungle, that's the thing. Like, maybe it did. I didn't do the math, obviously, but, like, odds are I was dead no matter what. If they had 4 panic points instead of 5, I'm not winning that race either, because I still need to move back. Like, that game was lost before the jar loss, but the jar loss put the nail in the coffin. The jar loss was the nail in the coffin. Charon Gaming. Can't quite do that. Well, actually, I can. I do have Charon. Never mind. I forgot. Yep. There he is. I'm favoriting some things because, like, the phobie list is just too long now. So I'm going to have to start using the favorite one soon. We're getting it online now, chat. Just because we can. It gives me some flexibility of movement on where I want to be. Because, like, this and the snowball could collapse on this and kill it. Although, obviously, it's out of range now. So, yeah, I think the big misplay last game, aside from that end-of-turn jar mismovement, was the Unbearable turn. I don't think it was worth it. I think we needed to keep Unbearable alive. There was no reason to overextend like that, and it just cost us. I don't think I made more misplays than my opponent. I think I just made a more egregious one at that point in time. Like, that one was just a worse misplay. So it's obviously going to get spit on. I don't care. Doing this so they can't recap it. And obviously threaten other stuff in the meantime. I'm going to go Ginsting. We can get the Honey Bear set up as a staging area soon. We could have put the Ginsting up a little bit, because I don't think they can kill it. It would have been like 1,400. It would have been fine. We would have survived and then probably killed this on the backswing. Probably not. Would have only been like maybe 13 or 1,400, not nearly 16. Sure. So we want to pressure this bottom point to try and push the Gravedigger away. We should be able to get this back. We're just going to swing it all the way back so that way I can muffin it. See, that's my problem, Scrungle. Now you know the pain of trying to stream the game, watch chat, and play. My Alligator, Barzilla, and Smother Mother got upgraded to level 8. They're 1 level away from 9. Yes. In fact, 8 is 1 different from 9. I know that's not what you're saying, Forgo, but it just sounded funny. They have 8 keys banked. That's a little scary. So they might try and kill the, They shouldn't be able to get this. This is going to go up top. This hits for 4, 5. We'll round this up to 10, so 1,400. We can't really punish it if they come after us, though. We're just going to be tanking a bunch of damage and then walking away. They can't threaten it, though. I don't know if they're really going to come in. Maybe we just back off 1. Because then they can't hit it with this. And if they come in, we can still push basically the same amount of damage, like if they stand on the point. They could, of course, try and go after Snowball, but if they commit into that, we should just be able to annihilate whatever comes in. Alright, this is kind of what I was expecting. Which means we should be able to kill the Primate. It'll be close. That's fine, because this thing will die. It's going to take 2 hits from this and follow up from something, but it'll die. Alright, a sheeping gas, huh? It'd be cool if there was a site for looking at all the phobies from level 1 to 30. It's called Google Sheets, and I'm only partially joking. Because they scale at 3%, so you can take the existing Phobies spreadsheet, like the list from the devs, and just plug in the formulas in order to calculate it out. We're just gonna do this. And this. And then... this. We'll bank 1 key. I wanted to get to 7, but I guess this turn is fine. This turn is okay. Obviously, the sheep or whatever can kill that. It's not a big deal. Alright, we get a W. I mean, they were in a really rough spot from that point out. GG. GG. We can try and get one more in. We got back to where we started, because the season reset. But yeah, Forgo, the devs, and I have it pinned in the Discord, there's a spreadsheet with all the stats, including the new full disclosure phobies at level 1. So basically, you just, in the next column, it's equals 1.03. And then just copy it out. Like one time, like previous column times 1.03 because it gets a 3% increase, and copy it out. And bang, you're done. That does not sound good. For a variety of reasons. Like, it's going to take 1, 2, 3 turns before it's here. Like, to actually get on here. And even then, if you have allowed your opponent to maintain control, they'll probably kill them on the way and then just kill them before they get there. You know what I mean? I don't know. Oh, Pluto. Pluto. You're right. On this, I could see it. It seems a little slow. It still seems slow because you're giving them the stim. Basically right off the bat. Newly Dead's cat, bank to 6, spawn Klepto. How does that beat something where they, like, even just Snowball immediately take a point, follow up with a 1 key, and then anything else? I guess the Klepto bullies them out? I don't know, that maybe that sounds more reasonable. Ted is 1k health. It's hard for the enemy to take him out. If they answer Snowball instead of Murder Wing, yes. Because Murder Wing has... I don't know if they're at the same level, what the comparison for damage is, but Murder Wing typically is going to be higher leveled for people, so it can do like 1,000 damage in one shot. But yeah, Ted has a ton of health when you level him up. I mean, he has 872 at level 4. So, I can absolutely see it. Going first on Pluto forces you to be extremely defensive, though it does help you that by giving you a stim. The thing is, if the second player goes super aggressive and breaks down the build side of the fortress, they get absolutely deboned, and the second player just stays there building their own fort. I mean, that's basically what happens on Pluto. I don't think you want to be defensive, though. Like, you can fortify the position with your stim, or with the stim, as the first player, but I don't think that's being defensive. I think as a second player... I don't know. I think that map is better than Phobos, but we'll have to see. It's still relatively young by comparison. They all are. It's Sunday, so you know the story. A little bit earlier, end time. We'll be back tomorrow. Going to be variety night. I'll put a poll in Discord, I think. I don't know. I'll figure it out tomorrow what we're going to be doing. Either I'll put a poll up and ping everybody, or... I will just decide. We'll play it by ear. But we're going to be doing variety tomorrow. We'll be back at the end of the week with more Phobies. I got to level all these Phobies up offline, put some other stuff together for Phobies. Of course, get this all edited and ready to go for Wednesday. But if you're not part of the Random Thoughts Discord, or you're not following or subscribed, if you're watching this on YouTube, or on Twitch for that matter, come by the live Twitch stream, RTChompGG. You can get the Discord link in the description of the video, ! Discord on the live stream. And of course, as mentioned, the likes, subscribes, follows, comments, all that kind of stuff really does help. It helps the stream, it helps it grow. I'd really love to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I feel that's kind of aggressive, but I'm putting it out there. If you're not subscribed, help me out. But for now, I am going to call it an evening. So as always, everybody, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and Black Lives Matter.